Hello again. Thank you for joining us. We're reading from the Complete Jewish Bible, which is a translation of the Hebrew Bible. Shema Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 through 9. Hear, Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one, and you're to love Adonai your God with all your heart, all your being, and all your resources. These words which I am ordering you today are to be on your heart, and you're to teach them carefully to your children. You're to talk about them when you sit at home, when you're traveling on the road, when you're lying down, and when you get up. Tie them on your hand as a sign. Put them at the front of a headband around your forehead, and write them on the door frames of your house and your gates. Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 14, the Lord's Prayer. Our Father in heaven, may your name be kept holy. May your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us the food we need today. Forgive us what we have done wrong, as we too have forgiven those who have wronged us. And do not lead us into hard testing, but keep us safe from the evil one. For kingship, power, and glory are yours forever. We are on Exodus chapter 8. Adonai said to Moshe, "Say to Aaron, reach out your hand with your staff over the rivers, canals, and ponds, and cause frogs to come up onto the land of Egypt." Aaron put out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. But the magicians did the same with their secret arts and brought up frogs onto the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh summoned Moshe and Aaron and said, "Intercede with Adonai to take the frogs away from me and my people, and I will let the people go and sacrifice to Adonai." Moshe said to Pharaoh, "Not only that, but you can have the honor of naming the time when I will pray for you, your servants and your people, to be rid of the frogs, both yourselves and your homes, and that they stay only in the river." He answered, "Tomorrow." Moshe said, "It will be as you have said, and from this you will learn that Adonai our God has no equal. The frogs will leave you and your homes, also your servants and your people. They will stay in the river only." Moshe and Aaron left Pharaoh's presence, and Moshe cried to Adonai about the frogs he had brought on Pharaoh. Adonai did as Moshe had asked. The frogs died in the houses, courtyards, and fields. They gathered them in heaps till the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that he had been given some relief, he made himself hard-hearted and would not listen to them, just as Adonai had said that would happen. Adonai said to Moshe, "Say to Aaron, reach out your staff and strike the dust on the ground. It will become lice throughout all the land of Egypt." They did it. Aaron reached out his hand with his staff and struck the dust on the ground, and there were lice on people and animals. All the dust on the ground became lice throughout the whole land of Egypt. The magicians tried with their secret arts to produce lice, but they could not. There were lice on people and animals. Then the magicians said to Pharaoh, "This is the finger of God." But Pharaoh was made hard-hearted, so that he did not listen to them, just as Adonai had said would happen. Adonai said to Moshe, "Get up early in the morning, stand before Pharaoh when he goes out to the water, and say to him, 'Here is what Adonai says. Let my people go so they can worship me. Otherwise, if you will not let my people go, I will send swarms of insects on you, your servants, and your people, and into your homes. The houses of the Egyptians will be full of swarms of insects, and likewise the ground they stand on. But I will set apart the land of Goshen, where my people live. No swarms of insects will be on them, so that you can realize that I am Adonai right here in the land. Yes, I will distinguish between my people and your people, and this sign will happen by tomorrow." Adonai did it. Terrible swarms of insects went into Pharaoh's palace and into all the servants' homes. The insects ruined the entire land of Egypt. Pharaoh summoned Moshe and Aaron and said, "Go and sacrifice to your God here in the land." But Moshe replied, "It would be inappropriate for us to do that because the animal we sacrifice to Adonai our God is an abomination to the Egyptians. Won't the Egyptians stone us to death if before their very eyes we sacrifice what they consider an abomination? No, we will go 3 days' journey into the desert and sacrifice to Adonai our God as he has ordered us to do." Pharaoh said, "I will let you go so that you can sacrifice to Adonai your God in the desert. Only you are not to go very far away. Intercede on my behalf." Moshe said, "All right, I'm going away from you, and I will intercede with Adonai so that tomorrow the swarms of insects will leave Pharaoh, his servants, and his people. Just make sure that Pharaoh stops playing games with the people by preventing them from going and sacrificing to Adonai." Moshe left Pharaoh and interceded with Adonai, and Adonai did what Moshe had asked. He removed the swarms of insects from Pharaoh, his servants, and his people. Not one remained. But this time too, Pharaoh made himself stubborn and did not let the people go. 1 Samuel chapter 13. Shaul was years old when he began his reign, and he had ruled Israel for 2 years. When he chose 3,000 of Israel's men, 2,000 of them were with Shaul in Michmas and in the hills of Beit El, and 1,000 were with Jonathan in Givat Benjamin. The rest of the people he sent back to their respective tents. Jonathan assassinated the governor of the Philistine in Giva. The Philistine heard of this, so Shaul had the shofar sounded throughout the land, saying, "Let the Hebrews hear." All Israel heard that Shaul had assassinated the governor of the Philistine, and thus made Israel a stench in the nostrils of the Philistine. So the people rallied behind Shaul in Gilgal, while the Philistines assembled themselves together to make war on Israel. 30,000 chariots, 6,000 horsemen, and an army as large as the number of sand grains on the seashore. They came up and pitched camp in Michmas, east of Beit Aven. The men of Israel saw that their options were limited, and that the people felt so hard-pressed that they were hiding themselves in caves, thickets, crevices, watchtowers, and cisterns, while some of the Hebrews crossed the Jordan to the territory of God in Gilad. But Shaul was still in Gilgal, where all the peoples were eager to follow him. He waited 7 days as Shemuel had instructed, but Shemuel did not come to Gilgal, so the army began to drift away from him. Shaul said, "Bring me the burnt offering and the peace offerings." And he offered the burnt offering. As soon as he had finished sacrificing the burnt offering, there was Shemuel. He had come, and Shaul went out to meet and greet him. Shemuel said, "What have you done?" Shaul answered, "I saw that the army was drifting away from me, that you had not come during the time appointed, and that the Philistine had assembled at Michmas. I said, now the Philistine will fall on me at Gilgal, and I have not asked the favor of Adonai. So I forced myself and offered the burnt offering." Shemuel said to Shaul, "You did a foolish thing. You did not observe the mitzvah of Adonai, which he gave you. If you had, Adonai would have set up your kingship over Israel forever. But as it is, your kingship will not be established. Adonai has sought for himself a man after his own heart, and Adonai has appointed him to be prince over his people, because you did not observe what Adonai ordered you to do." Then Shemuel left Gilgal and went up to Givat Benjamin. Shaul counted how many were still there with him, about 600 men. Shaul Jehohanan and his son and the men with him took up quarters at Givat Benjamin, while the Philistines remained in camp at Michmas. Then raiding parties began coming out from the camp of the Philistine. 3 of them, one group turned toward the road leading to Ophrah in the territory of Shual, another group toward the road toward Beit Horon, and another company took the road toward the desert through the territory overlooking Vidai Sovoim. Now there was no metalsmith to be found anywhere in the land of Israel, because the Philistine had said, "We do not want the Hebrews making themselves swords or spears." So whenever any of the people of Israel wanted to sharpen his hoe, plowshare, axe, or pick, he had to go down to the Philistine, where the exorbitant prices were 2/3 of a shekel for filing a pick or plowshare, and 1/3 of a shekel for filing an axe or setting an ox goad in its handle. Thus, when the time came to fight, no one in the army of Shaul and Jonathan was equipped with either sword nor spear, although Shaul and Jonathan his son did have them. A garrison of the Philistine had gone out to the pass of Michmas. And now we're going to Psalms 58. It's by David, a miktam. Rulers, does your silence really speak justice? Are you judging people fairly? No. In your hearts you devise wrongs. Your hands dispense violence in the land. From the wombs the wicked are estranged, liars on the wrong path since birth. Their venom is like snake's venom. They are like a serpent that stops its ears, so as not to hear the voice of the charmer. No matter how well he plays, God, break their teeth in their mouth. Shatter the fangs of these lions, Adonai. May they vanish like water that drains away. May their arrows be blunted when they aim their bows. May they be like a slug that melts as it moves, like a stillborn baby that never sees the sun. Before your cook pots feel the heat of the burning thorns, may he blow them away, green and blazing alike. The righteous will rejoice to see vengeance done. They will wash their feet in the blood of the wicked, and people will say, yes, the righteous are rewarded. There is, after all, a God who judges the earth. And now we'll go to Luke chapter 14. One Shabbat, Jeshua went to eat in the home of one of the leading Perishim, and they were watching him closely. In front of him was a man whose body was swollen with fluid. Jeshua spoke up and asked the Torah experts and the Perishim, does the Torah allow healing on Shabbat or not? But they said nothing. So taking hold of him, he healed him and sent him away. To them he said, which of you, if a son or an ox falls into a well, will hesitate to haul him out on Shabbat? And to these things they could give no answer. When Jeshua noticed how the guests were choosing for themselves the best seats at the table, he told them this parable. When you are invited by someone to a wedding feast, do not sit down in the best seat, because if there is someone more important than you who has been invited, the person who invited both of you might come and say to you, give this man your place. Then you will be humiliated as you go to take the least important place. Instead, when you're invited, go and sit in the least important place, so that when the one who invited you comes, he will say to you, go on up to a better seat. Then you will be honored in front of everyone sitting with you, because everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but everyone who humbles himself will be exalted. Joshua also said to the ones who had invited him, when you give a lunch or a dinner, do not invite your friends, brothers, relatives, or rich neighbors, for they may well invite you in return, and that will be your repayment. Instead, when you have a party, invite poor people, disfigured people, the crippled, the blind. How blessed you will be that they have nothing with which to repay you, for you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. On hearing this, one of the people of the table with Joshua said to him, how blessed are those who eat bread in the kingdom of God. But he replied, once a man gave a banquet and invited many people. When the time came for the banquet, he sent his slave to tell those who had been invited, come, everything is ready. But they responded with a chorus of excuses. The first said to him, I have just bought a field and I have to go out and see it. Please accept my apologies. Another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm on my way to test them out. Please accept my apologies. Still another said, I have just gotten married, so I cannot come. The slave came and reported these things to his master. Then the owner of the house, in a rage, told his slave, quick, go out into the street and alleys of the city and bring in the poor, the disfigured, the blind, and the crippled. The slave said, sir, what you ordered has been done, and there is still room. The master said to the slave, go out to the country roads and boundary walls and instantly persuade people to come, so that my house will be full. I tell you, not one of those who were invited will get a taste of my banquet. Large crowds were traveling along with Joshua. Turning, he said to them, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father, his mother, his wife, his children, his brothers and sisters, yes, and his own life besides, he cannot be my Talmid. Whoever does not carry his own execution stake and come after me cannot be my Talmid. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Don't you sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough capital to complete it? If you don't, then when you have laid the foundation but cannot finish, all the onlookers start making fun of you and say, this is the man who began to build but could not finish. Or again, suppose one king is going out to wage war with another king. Does he not first sit down and consider whether he, with his 10,000 troops, has enough strength to meet the other one, who is coming against him with 20,000? If he has not, then while the other is still far away, he sends a delegation to inquire about the terms for peace. So every one of you who does not renounce all that he has cannot be my Talmid. Salt is excellent, but if even the salt becomes tasteless, what can be used to season it? It is fit for neither soil nor manure. People throw it out. Those who have ears that can hear, let them hear. Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 through 26. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and show you his favor. May Adonai lift his face toward you and give you his shalom. Thank you again for joining us. Until next time, shalom.